This is Sports Stuff with Jim and Muff, plus and Alex doing big kid things.
That's me.
but not Nate and Sam, which feels odd.
But no Nate, no Sam, although we do have a stand-in for Nate,
Yeah,
since
when he sees that, I hope he kicks your ass.
he's umpiring today. He's doing this thing on the baseball diamond. Angel Hernandez has taken Nate's spot for
Oh,
today's episode.
it's not great. It's not
Yeah,
great. It's a bad look for Nate.
we'll see. I don't know. Today is Tuesday, June 11th. And Caitlin Clark has been at the forefront of the media world for another week.
People were listening to our podcast for our take on that, and that is not bullshit. Like, people reached out to me and were like, "We want to know what you guys think about the Caitlin Clark situation."
Which
So
part of it?
uh,
Last week's stuff, this week's stuff?
last week's stuff. So
Oh,
I can't wait to talk about this week's stuff.
what was the sentiment of our opinions, Jim? People falling on
Um,
anyone's side or just interested in our banter?
I had someone message me and go, "I absolutely agree with you. You are absolutely correct." I was like, okay. And
We don't
then
do it often.
there, I know, there
Any of
were
us.
some people in your camp that were like, "I agree with what Muff had to say." So it was a very interesting 50-50 split, that there were people that liked both sides of the argument, which is also rare for us.
Well, that means we're doing something right if we have
I
people on
felt
both
good.
sides of the camp,
I felt
right?
good. Yeah.
So that's good. Alex, I don't even remember where you stood on that. I think you were more on my side.
Yeah,
Think we.
Yeah. He was the old man
usually
on the porch.
Oh wait,
usually it's pretty safe to assume.
yeah, that's more likely than not. I get it. So we'll get into more talk about what's happened this week
That
with in the
that was
past
not a
week.
jab at that was not a jab at Jim. That was just saying usually it's safe to assume Muff and I are more aligned.
Yeah. Yeah.
So we'll get into that, the Caitlin Clark discussion for this week, along with other things that happened in the week in sports, including college softball now has a national champion, and Jim's ready to tell the world.
Very much so.
Major League Baseball had to put the hammer down on player betting
Yeah, that
in
happened.
in a big way. We have playoff updates in the NHL and the NBA.
Yep.
Also in the NBA, Dan Hurley received an offer from the Lakers, but do we think it was a sincere offer?
I
He
think you're
said
the only one
no
that pays
spray.
a, I
He
think you're
said
the
no
only one that
spray.
pays attention to it, right?
Why would it be a not sincere offer?
More to come. More to come on that. And a sports related show from the past is being rebooted, and I am excited. We'll see how everyone else feels about it when we get to that later on. As always, thanks to everybody that's interacting with our content on Spotify, on Apple Podcasts, on YouTube. Remember, you can follow us at Sports Jim Muff on Instagram and Twitter, Sports Stuff with Jim and Muff on Facebook, on YouTube. Make sure you hammer all of the action verbs, comment, rate, like, subscribe.
You really botched this tonight, huh?
Poke,
Get
like,
the
tickle,
bell
get the
on.
ding ding.
What are the
Big
action
comment.
verbs?
Do
What are
the
the action
things.
verbs? All right, which brings us into our first topic for this week, which is college softball.
It's good stuff. It's good stuff. Oklahoma, number 2, beat Texas, number 1, in both games, 8-3 and 8-4. Moving them tied with Arizona for the second most World Series championships, behind UCLA with their 12th. Good games for about halfway through each of those games. Then Oklahoma just kind of rolled. Um, Very impressive. Love Oklahoma. The last game, I think they broke a record for number of pitchers used. I think it was like 5 or 6.
Mhm.
Um, cool that they ended it with the transfer from Oklahoma State, because she got a lot of hate for the transfer, a lot of social media outrage for her transferring, but she closed up shop there. Um, I'm not sure when this dynasty will end for Oklahoma softball, but 3 of their players entered the transfer portal, including their second baseman, or second basewoman. I don't know what the politically correct term is. who played a big factor in the World Series. So a little bit of playing from behind. They lost, I think, 5 seniors, solid seniors, including their catcher, who was kind of like the motor for that team, at least this year. But yeah, great World Series. I watched every game that I could. Very entertaining. I try to get into the World Series baseball, but I just can't do it. But softball, loved it. Can't wait till next year.
Yeah, the Super Regionals are wrapping up. We're recording on Monday. This episode comes out on Tuesday. Alex, unfortunately, WVU did not make it through.
They did not. That first game was exciting though. I was like up, and then I kind of had a feeling like once we lost that game at the end, I'm like, yeah, no, North Carolina's got it now. But it was fun. If we'd have won that game, it would have been exciting.
Would have been, but alas, I don't think any of us have any teams of. I think it's all SEC and ACC teams in the Men's College World Series.
North Carolina's still in it.
Yeah, but the World Series hasn't started yet. They won the Super Regional. They beat WVU, Jim.
I am happy. This is like what we always argue about, like how like I should not be happy because we didn't win a national championship, but I'm happy with getting to the Super Regional as a WVU baseball fan.
No, you're just a WVU fan. That's what you're known for. Just being happy with mediocre. It's okay.
You know who we didn't talk about, Jim?
Ohio State, because the two sports that they're not good at: softball, baseball.
Just want to make sure we put that out there.
Absolutely.
You're okay with that.
Yep.
I thought we always hope for excellence in all sports, Jim.
In one sport.
Oh, we only care about one sport now. Okay, wrestling and basketball, wrestling and basketball, all off the table now.
The rest are cherries on the top, buddy.
Okay. All right. Well, we'll get more into the men's World Series in the coming weeks as that becomes more relevant, and we have all the teams and the players confirmed. Our next topic, one that we'll see how long we go in this. A lot of the syndicated sports shows are spending much more time on the WNBA, and we have been doing that as well. So we're going to start out with the topic of topics for this week, and that is Caitlin Clark, as Caitlin Clark was not selected for the U.S. women's basketball roster for the Olympic Games in Paris this summer. We have people that are falling on both sides of this decision, saying it is as it should be, and there are others that say that she should be on the roster because of what it will do for women's basketball nationally and internationally. So starting off, just very simply, let us all say if we think she should be on the roster or not, and then we'll get into further discussion. Jim, do you think Caitlin Clark should be on the Olympic roster?
My initial straight from the heart reaction when I saw the news was, yeah, no shit, she shouldn't be.
She shouldn't be or should be?
She should not be.
Okay. Alex?
And if you'd have asked me before any of this happened and I thought about it really, I would have said, yes, she should be on the team.
Okay. And I would have been on the yes, we should have her on the team at this point as well. So those are all our initial reactions. Now let's get into the discussion. Jim, initially, why were you on the camp of should not be, and what additional information has come to light to either support that or make you think otherwise?
My initial reaction was time served. Like, I didn't think there was enough resume. I get she's a college player, and that was fantastic. But like professionally, I didn't think there was enough time served to warrant a spot on the roster. And that was simply, and I know I'm going to catch all kinds of shit, but like, because I do talk shit on her, I think that was my initial reaction. That was my only like gut check. This is why I don't think she deserves it.
So this is a question just because I don't know the answer to this. And so upfront honesty, is there a rule that says college kids can't play on the women's team?
I don't believe so.
So that's my question is, I felt like based on her college performance, she should have gotten consideration. Now, the more I've thought about it and you look at the team and you're like, you know what? You can only get so many people. These people have a longer standing, proven good basketball. You know what I mean? Like, maybe they earned it a little more so far. Like next go round, I think Caitlin Clark makes it no question, barring any terrible, disaster of her career.
Correct. I'm with you. Then when I saw who did make it, because that was my next go-to. When I saw who did make it, I was like, why is this a question? Like, then I started looking at ages, and I was like, the sympathy vote for some of these 46, these older players, just because, like, oh, they're legends. And, like,
Are
I
you
don't
talking
think,
about like Diana Taurasi?
yeah.
Okay.
That's where I started getting skewed. And I was like, like, maybe the argument out there, they have a point, because some of these veterans that are on there, like, your time has come. Well, she could go get X number of medals. Like, I don't care. Like, that does not appeal to my emotions. Like, the time served has its spot, but then there's like, it's time for you to hang up and let somebody else have a chance, also plays a factor. So I was kind of like, all right, I'm going to let it ride one more time.
Right.
One more time, but the next go round, you're out.
Yeah. So to one of your points, Alex, real quick, the collegiate eligibility. One thing that did come out of discussions that I've heard on this was Caitlin Clark wasn't able to participate in these Olympic training exercises that help decide who gets onto these rosters because it was in the middle of her season. So, in the middle of her college season. So, she wasn't able to participate in those to quote unquote try out for the team. So, it would have been a little outside of the norm to bring her on without her
Like,
being able to compete in those tryouts.
no,
I'm using quote tryouts because I think they probably know who the majority of the players are. They're just trying to fill those last 2 or 3 spots, probably.
well, and I think there's something about the like gelling of a team as well, and camaraderie and just like working on plays and things like that she's missed now. And I wonder if putting her in would throw a wrench in things and ultimately hurt the team. Like you already have a solid team, you already have a good chance at winning the gold medal. We throw this wrench in, and not saying her as a person, I'm just saying in general, another player that hasn't been around for any of these training exercises, any of these tryout days, any of whatever they are. I think you have to take that into consideration as well.
And I want to be clear as we're discussing this, that this is all I would like to think, and you two, I don't want to speak for you two, but I know you two pretty well. These are all initial thoughts that we're all having before the hype set in. Like, this is how we all kind of just process things, I like to think, when we hear a crazy buzz line. Like, okay, let's run through it. Let's see the rules. Let's see what the decision was. Like, we're all critically thinking before the hype starts.
Right before
Yeah.
you see all of the
Everybody else's
extreme opinions.
Right.
Right, because
Yeah.
it's their polar opinions all said and done, and people find what's going on there. So one of the first things I was curious of and found this out pretty early on was the makeup overall, not just of age, but you're looking at experience as well. With coming with age, typically in this
Correct.
situation, there's nobody under the age of 26 on the roster, and I think there were only 4 first-time Olympians on the roster as well. So you're looking at players that have probably played at least 3 to 4 years professionally, whether that's in the WNBA and or abroad,
Right.
that are doing this. So they've got not just time served, but professional time served in that way. So that
I think
made me feel a certain way of, okay, well, we're just not taking anybody that's coming straight out of college. It's not just a Caitlin Clark thing.
right.
It's a everybody thing.
Then I think my only tiptoe before the buzz hit was I saw Brittany Griner on there. And I was like, wait a minute. Like, wasn't she in a Russian prison cell for an extended period of time? Like, how good is her play? I haven't followed Brittany Griner in the league, so I don't know. And I was like, and I'm being sincere, I was like, I'm going to give this the benefit of the doubt because she's in the league and I haven't followed Brittany Griner. I'm going to assume that she's Olympic ready, but like, let me find out that she's trash and we're just putting on her there for like that sympathy Olympic, like she gets to go beat the Russians. Let me find out that that's the storyline. I'm going to be pissed. Like, I'm be big mad that like we just used her there for a storyline in the Olympics.
Yeah, no, I agree. I agree with that.
Because
That's a
then
different.
that,
It's a different position than Caitlin Clark as well.
but still, like if we're only using there for clickbait and story,
Yeah. Then let's bring all the clickbait on all at the same time, right?
correct. That was,
Would
and that was before all the buzz.
right. Which comes back to my initial opinion was why wouldn't you put the person who is bringing the most attention?
Did you get there before the buzz?
When I saw that she wasn't on there, I was like, why are we not capitalizing on
Okay,
this
I did
right now?
not. I did
Yeah.
not.
I was like, why would you not want to have somebody that is bringing national and international attention to this professional sport in the United States, where it hadn't necessarily been to this extent before.
Kudos
And
to you. And I
yeah,
probably should have, but I did not.
I'm just thinking from the pure marketing standpoint of
Sure.
if we're going to truly say that we want to get behind the WNBA, we want to promote them, we want to market them, we want to put them in a position to grow this year, capitalize not just on Caitlin Clark, Cameron Brink, Angel Reese, everybody in this rookie class. Now's the time just to put all those eggs in one basket, and either it's going to happen in the next 1 to 3 years, or it's going to peak and then it's going to slowly go down the hill to maybe where it had been before. So now's the time, the next 1 to 3 years, to figure it out. And why not? This is an Olympic year. Get international attention to this rookie class and to everybody that you want to in the WNBA. That was my thought.
I saw that take on Twitter.
Mm-hmm.
Just that take. Again,
Mm-hmm.
this is before
Right.
the bus. Like I saw that take and I was like, okay, yeah, that makes sense. Now,
Now, since
I like to think it's pre her response, and then post her response. So she responds very adamantly or very admirably. She does a great job, handles it well. There's a response of like, oh, she handled that with grace. And then fire. Like it becomes a race issue, it becomes a veteran issue, it becomes everything we can blame for a decision. And it was like you had to sift through those weeds.
yes, because you were hearing Caitlin Clark's response more than you were hearing the underlying, as you're calling it, fire initially, and then it all kind of rose to the top.
Yeah. And that's where I have an issue. And like is it a media manufactured issue that they're doing for buzz and clicks? Sure. I'll say that. But like, and I want to reference the tweet as best I can. I wish we talked pre-show about sending it. She wins here. Like she gets to rest. She gets to stay out of the narrative. Anything that happens, like if they tank, she has a lot more to risk than anybody else if she goes.
Mm-hmm.
They're going to win anyway. We've said that. They're going to win anyway. If she goes, who benefits? Women's basketball, the WNBA, like everybody will be riding on her.
Yeah.
She can sit back. She's done is play basketball nonstop. So she gets an off season.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's true.
So
She gets an off season, she probably gets a few more commercials and
right. If she's lucky enough, she might get to like have an analysis job on it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like go sit
Like
with Pat McAfee and come
well,
and give a take on it.
That bridge might have been burned, but
No, I don't think it's burned. I think that he has season tickets,
they're making
Pat
up.
McAfee. So I don't think he's good with the Indiana basketball community.
I'm just saying, like she wins here by not going. Now, everybody else trying to make this, and we'll talk about it on other subjects, trying to make this a division.
Mm-hmm.
I cannot get behind that. Much as I love controversial firestorms. Sorry, I just don't buy into it.
Let's start with the one divisive, we'll say the polar topic, which is the vets versus the rookies. Right. So we've got some fire came out of, oh, this is like the vets saying we just don't want anybody that her or anybody else in this incoming class because this is still our league kind of a thing, and this is not what we want on our Olympic roster.
They don't want chartered flights. They don't want decent meals or sponsorships. I don't buy it.
They don't want to have to play abroad and get stuck in Russia like Brittany
Yeah.
Griner.
I don't buy it. I think that's a bullshit narrative. I mean, I'm sure they want respect, but I think like any sport or anything you do, you want to make sure that the new person understands that there's a toll to be paid. Like, I think
which
all of
we
us in our
which we've seen.
careers,
We've seen
yeah,
with Caitlin Clark.
but I don't think we're going to hold you back from getting yours.
Right.
Because we all get fed when you get fed. So I don't buy it. I can't.
Alex, what do you think about the vet versus rookie situation? Do you
I
think that
think
was truly
that's
involved in this decision, or do you think this is just the way it was going to be either way?
I think it was just kind of the way it was going to be. I think that you have enough decent vets right now to make up the team. And I think when you look at it and you say, should we let this rookie who hasn't been a part of any of our tryout stuff join, or should we take this veteran who has been to the Olympics before, knows the drill, has the composure to deal with it, who's played with these other girls? I think we should probably take that. Like, I just feel like it's objectively, whether it has to do with veteran or rookie, I think there's like a pros to taking the veteran side. I mean, when you're in this level of competition, I don't think it's like a statistist, whatever. I think it just has to do with that's the better choice. If I'm going to an all-star game tomorrow and I have a kid that's never played in an all-star game before and didn't get to come to any of the all-star team practices, but I have this other kid who's played in all-star games a couple times and he was there for all the practices, I'm gonna pick him. Even if he's a little bit worse skill-wise, as far as getting the team to mesh and play as a team, that's going to be the better option. That's who I'm going to pick right now.
And then Caitlin Clark's response to some of this, at least the response she said directly to her coach, that her coach reported was, and this is not a direct quote, but they woke up a monster by not selecting me. That was something her coach said that Caitlin Clark had said in response to all of this.
Isn't that what you want? And I think, like, I'm not trying to mansplain this, but I'm gonna try to put it this way as best I can. If this was Michael Jordan, would we have a fucking problem with it? We'd be like, duh.
Well, no, if you heard about it 5 years later, you wouldn't have a problem with it. But in the moment, you may be like, well, who's this young buck who hasn't
I
proven
don't think so,
who hasn't
man.
proven himself yet?
I think there's a difference. I think, and this could be a radical Jim moment. I'm sorry, but I think the fact this is a women's league, I think there's a level of assumed pettiness
Okay.
that comes with this kind of shit. Like, oh, she said you woke up a monster. Oh, those mean girls are keeping that girl out. Like, I think there's an assumed pettiness because it's a female thing. Whereas I think sometimes we wouldn't give a shit if it was a dude.
I still think there are people that would say that it's not your time and place to be like this just yet if you haven't proven yourself professionally.
I don't know.
Here's the comparison I'm gonna draw. Anthony Edwards right now in the NBA, who was the main player for the Timberwolves, who was drawing these comparisons like Michael Jordan in his younger years and trying to like say, oh yeah, I want the ball all the time. And there were people that were saying to him like, I mean, you're good. We're not going to say you're not good, but you haven't proven yourself to be this person yet. Like you have to prove this before we like truly embrace you this way.
We watch guys flex and show off and get called to go and all this, and it's like, oh, look at him go. Whereas, like, we watch one of these girls throw a little bit of attitude or a little bit of swagger, and it's like, diva. Like, I don't know, man. To me, it's not that big a deal. That's just me.
Well, we're hearing about it more now, so I mean, it's not going to stop.
Yeah.
It's definitely not going to stop. So, anything else in your side that more came out later that made you think differently, Jim, after the fact, or other areas of this discussion we want to climb into about this decision?
I don't want to go too far into it, but the race thing bothers the shit out of me. I think, well, they did it because she's white, or they're doing this because they're black, blah 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 blah. Come on, come on. Like, there's white people on the team, there's black people on the team. There's like, that's a
There's
stretch,
there's vets, but there's no rookies, right? If anything, that's the divisive topic.
right? Like, I'm just not getting behind it. And I think, and I told you I was going to go a little political. I think that sometimes we look for ways to divide ourselves and to divide a topic because that's what we do all the time anymore. Like,
Mhm,
how about we don't? How about, hey, America's got some badasses on this team that are going to go win the medal again?
mhm.
And like, hey, we got a hell of a rookie class that's going to do it again when the vets are gone. Like, how about we go, yay, America, just one time?
You know what? I'm thinking through when the women's soccer national team had their run of dominance. I don't remember this happening.
No, man. Like,
Like, especially like the Brandy Chastain rip off her shirt and all of that. Like, I don't remember this going on. I remember just being like, hey, women's soccer, amazing. We need to get behind this. It wasn't
that's
like,
what I
who
mean.
didn't make the team this year?
We're just all about controversy and division in this country, and
Maybe this is a basketball thing because the NBA is good at
ah,
this too.
yeah, maybe it's just weird to me. This is a weird time.
All right. Another WNBA news, and this goes to some of the vets versus rookie thing. Cameron Brink, another rookie, said that the narrative that the vets have it out for the rookies isn't true. This is me paraphrasing. And she additionally shared that it's not realistic to expect the rookie class to be perfect. She pointed specifically to a 3 total point night from Clark last week and shared it goes to show how much people don't really know and understand the game of basketball and how you can't be perfect every night, even if you are built up as a person or this incoming class to be right this saving grace or the next big thing. So, do we think this Cameron Brink saying this is maybe the most realistic and fair thing that anybody
Yes.
said about this rookie class yet, coming from one of its
Yes.
members?
Yeah, I agree with that. But I also think that, like, I think there is a lot of hype on this rookie class to be LeBron like to save the WNBA. And like, this is, yes, it's unrealistic.
Do we think there's truth to there's a lot of people getting into this discussion that don't know or understand the game of basketball and are just in this because it's something that they should be talking about or everyone else is talking about?
Yeah. I think, how do I phrase this so we don't look like assholes? Um, I think that there should be some blame that people haven't been covering the sport for a long time.
Hmm.
And now it's like, oh, this is basketball. This is not the NBA. This is a different beast. Like,
Hmm.
let's have our eyes on what it is and not like this is NBA light. This should be like, no, this is WNBA. Like, it's not the same. Sure, you can make a storyline out of anything, but it's
Right,
not the same.
right. Alex, thoughts on that?
No, I think you guys covered it.
All right. And lastly, in the WNBA, the Chicago Sky had players share via social media that they have been harassed, called racial slurs, and just receiving negative attention, especially after the Caitlin Clark incident with Kennedy Carter. I found out that I had mispronounced that last week. It's not
Hmm,
Kennedy, it's Kennedy.
that's 2 weeks
I've
in a row.
Yes,
Kennedy.
I called this one out to myself, though. I would not have to be called out by others. Um, to this discussion, I've only seen one video surface of a reporter. I would say it was some local reporter that seemed actually pretty civil of just asking questions to Kennedy Carter as the team was walking into, I believe, a hotel. But I mean, we all know how people work. There could be a lot of other things on social media that are coming out, private messages, people in comments saying certain things or things that aren't recorded on video for some reason. So for the Chicago Sky, and this is piggybacking a little bit off of last week, some of the discussion we had. Is this part of like the bad woman persona they have to learn to deal with, or does more need to be made of and highlighted to be addressed in this whole situation or situations?
Uh, You loaded that up funny. Do I believe that harassment, racial slurs, they should have to learn to deal with? No. I don't care how bad boy they are. Like there is things like playing the heel that you should expect to come to deal with. Yes.
Such as what are some things that you would expect to have to just shrug off because this is what the bed you've laid in?
You're gonna catch a lot of shit. Like,
right.
You suck. I hate you. Go to hell.
Right. Which would fall into, I think, harassment.
Yeah. Yeah. Now, when it crosses that, go kill yourself, racial slurs, things that are just, it's a sporting event. When you cross that threshold, it's like, no, this is a game, you idiots.
Yeah.
Like,
I agree.
Now, I saw this note that you put in here and I went to look up some things, and she says, Angel Reese, that is,
okay.
She says her rivalry and her persona started with the national championship game, the first one, I'm assuming.
Correct.
Yeah. She's been dealing with it 2 years now, as far as being unpopular with the fans, comparing it to Clark's, and says she understands that, yeah, negative things have been said about me, but honestly, she takes it. Because look where women's basketball is. People are talking about women's basketball that you never think would be. So she understands the role. She understands people are talking shit. So I think, yes, she's accepted the role. But again, I think there is that line. And I don't think that she deserves that line to be crossed.
No, I agree. Nobody deserves that line to be crossed. At this point, what I'm more interested to see moving forward is with more attention being brought to some of these things that are allegedly happening. Are we going to actually see like videos come out? Because the one video I saw, they had like a security guy who went up to the person asking questions and pretty much just said, "Hey, get away." And again, they were civil questions, and there weren't any of these like harassing or more intense situations yet. So
I think if she's smart, if they're smart, yeah.
Oh yeah, because you can't just keep saying this and there's no video evidence ever.
Yeah, you got to
like
play
sooner
play
or
to
later.
it.
Yeah, sooner or later it's got to be real.
I mean,
if you're going to keep saying this, I'm not saying they're
in
going
the
to.
age of social media, if you were to cut a promo, and this is wrestling speak, if you cut a promo or a hype video, if you walking down the street catching shit, and you advertise the newest Nikes and the newest gear as you're catching shit, that's money.
Yeah, that's blowing up.
So
maybe they need to take a class with some of the WWE heels. Is that what we need?
Yeah.
This is how you really capitalize on this situation. Yeah. For the big bank.
Yep.
All right. Anything else in the WNBA? It's an extended discussion for us. Alex, final thoughts?
Good one.
No, not really.
Okay.
I think that we covered a lot. I think it's cool that we're talking about the WNBA.
Hopefully, we're talking about more of the games in the future.
Yeah. No, I agree. I agree with that. But it's fun to have, I don't know, something else to talk about.
Yeah, it is. It's a good buffer for football, which brings us into football news.
The off season.
It is. Justin Jefferson.
Did you just steal that from Jim?
No, I didn't say it.
I said it.
He was about to.
I said football news.
And did you say the off season?
I did not.
No, I did the off season.
Oh, I thought that was Muff still.
No. I didn't steal it. Okay. Justin Jefferson gets a huge contract extension with the Vikings at 4 years, $140 million with $110 guaranteed.
Good for him. I don't really know what to say when you put these in here. Like, I don't want to hate the man. Like, he got paid. I think it's going to screw with the market a little bit. Good for him.
Good for him. Now, I mean, no Kirk Cousins anymore. Do we think that this contract is going to be fulfilled in the way of, yes, he earned all of this during the contract? He has earned the opportunity to have this contract. We do think it when we look ahead, we look backwards 4 years from now at what he's done over these 4 years. Do we think it's going to be worth it?
I like to hope so. Like this is one where like I'm rooting for it.
Hmm.
I
No, I
don't know
agree.
that I don't know that it will. Like I'm
Right.
50-50 on. I want him to, so my decision's blind. I like him.
Hmm. This is one of those we're about to find out how much Kirk Cousins really meant to
Yeah.
this offense in this
Yeah.
situation. So I think that's what's going to be most interesting to me in the next 2 years is how's
Yep.
this going to play out. Alex?
He's playing the
Pass.
role of Nate tonight.
Sorry. I'm not meaning to. I'm like I have doing a little bit of stuff for work occasionally, half commenting. Are we talking about you mean Justin Jefferson?
Yeah. Do you think
Yes.
this is a good contract for the Vikings?
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, he is their team at this point. No, I shouldn't say that, but he's pretty much. My biggest comment, the overarching big wide receiver contract deals is they keep getting bigger, but the market value, the values go, the value of the dollar is going down. I would like to see where some of these are. Like when we said, and I think we might have brought this up before. This is the biggest contract ever. All right. Is it, or is it just the highest number?
It's I think it's the highest per year. I think that's where this
Yeah.
yeah. We're gonna get more of these highest per year contracts because they're not going to be 7 or 8 year deals. They're going to be 3, 4, 5 year deals.
Yeah.
With
I
the
guess, yeah.
guarantee being what it is.
Yeah.
I guess that makes sense. It's just that thing of like, the price. Like if I guaranteed Jim $5 in 1980 and I guaranteed him $10 now, but I guaranteed him $5 more. Yeah, well, $10 gets you what $5 used to.
Like have an economics lesson tonight, Alex, that we're getting to.
I'm
He's
just
got his dry
that's
erase pen and everything.
this is it's a real pen.
Oh, got you. I thought you were writing on a whiteboard.
Yeah, Alex, the future value of money is worth more than the present value of money. I got it.
I know,
Got
but
it.
what I'm saying is, are these they always say like talk about wow, this contract's the biggest contract ever. This contract's the biggest contract ever. Yeah, well, I want to look at them based on inflation
Okay, fair
to find
enough.
out who really has the biggest contract ever.
I don't want to talk to Alex anymore. He's hurting my head.
Christian McCaffrey reset the running back market,
One of
signing a
my
2 year
favorites.
extension at
It
19
hurts.
million per year. So
I
Christian
think that's
McCaffrey,
deserved. I'm cool with that.
all right, that monster of an offense, like he's a huge piece of what makes that go for Brock Purdy and everybody there.
And it's 2 years. I think he's worth every penny.
I 100% agree. With off-season practices and then now into the mandatory team activities in the NFL, we have the first violation of the CBA from the Detroit Lions, who, quote, violated player work rules pertaining to on-field physical contact.
Somebody snitched.
This happens like every year, Jim.
Yeah, but somebody had to snitch. Right? Like,
Well, I mean, at this point, all of these practices are taped and recorded, and I feel like they have to. There's like some NFL person that has to review film of practices at some point.
somebody snitched. Dan, get him. Get
I mean,
him,
do we
Dan.
expect anybody except for Dan Campbell be part of the situation if it came up?
No, I mean, he was going to be the one to violate it. Belichick's out now, so Dan's the guy to break the rules.
And so is Vrabel. Like Vrabel's another one of those people.
Yeah.
It's like, oh yeah, that makes sense, Mike Vrabel.
Yep.
But I'm just thinking if there's anybody else in my mind that would Harbaugh. I feel like Harbaugh's somebody that could get caught in this right now.
No, he doesn't get caught. Others get caught for him.
So, I mean, nothing's happened from that, has it, Jim? Michigan's still on the clean, right?
No, they got some kind of something.
They got something. The Steelers have extended Mike Tomlin 3 years through 2027. We thinking this is a good move for the Steelers organization. Alex.
Half of Alex. He's like half out of the screen.
Sorry, I'm in a spinny chair, so it keeps like drifting. Meh.
Meh?
I feel very meh about it.
Are you mad because it's only 3 years? Or are you mad because
It's just it's only three. No, no. I am comforting myself saying it's only 3 years. So that's why
you
I'm
want
like,
Tomlin out?
I just don't. I mean, like, I don't know. I
Yes.
don't. He's he's not my favorite coach in the entire world just because I feel like we're like climbing the mountain and we're like 3/4 of the way up most of the time, but we haven't had that like ugh. And I don't want some like nefarious end. Like I don't think he's a terrible football coach. It's just like what's missing.
Well, I think quarterback is, we all know
Well,
what's missing.
yes. So
Columbus
my thought
listeners, this is what it's called. This is called a Pittsburgh hot seat. Right here.
no. Listen, I'm not saying I want him gone necessarily. I'd like to give him a chance to see what he would do if we got this year. I want to see what he does with a two quarterback system kind of deal. You know,
This we don't know what this feels like, Columbus. We want them out all the time.
We don't know
This
what it feels like to like be
want to
in tepid
support
water,
them.
right?
I
this
want
is
them
what
to
it feels like.
I want him to be in as long as he can be in with a good quarterback. I don't want to judge him based off the last 2 years. I
Witness, the
also he's on
Pittsburgh fan
I want to see
struggles.
so like you know how like when you turn on your seat warmer, you can click it to like the one wavy line for heat or the two wavy lines or the three wavy lines for heat. I want him on like a one wavy line hot seat. Not three. I'm not burning his ass. I'm just saying. One wavy line.
Witness as the Pittsburgh
All right.
fan debates the variables on when to
One,
push the wavy lines.
one wavy line.
So my opinion is, I think 3 years is a reasonable term to give this extension. You just are in a situation where you brought in two quarterbacks, of which I think everyone realizes Justin Fields is the quarterback of the future. Russell Wilson is the quarterback of the.
Oh,
Okay, Jim, that is not a hot take.
this night is getting amazing.
I don't think anybody expects Russell Wilson to be the quarterback of your
Holy
opinions.
shit. Justin Fields is the quarterback of the future per Muff. Alex put Tomlin on the hot seat. This episode is my favorite.
The tepid seat. The lukewarm seat.
This is the best episode ever.
The room temperature water seat.
I love this episode.
So, and I mean, Tomlin, I don't think he can be blamed for the organization making the Kevin Colbert last draft pick of Kenny Pickett, which didn't pan out at all. So I think 3 years is a reasonable time to be like, okay, we've got the core here. Omar Khan has come in and done some good things. Need to make this work, and we need to see some push in the playoffs, or else after these 3 years, we're gonna have to reassess, and you may not be the person here anymore. You've had time. Now it's time to make it happen.
Alex, is Tomlin on the hot seat? Yes or no?
He is on the lukewarm seat.
So you're
He's
not
not
going to say
on
he's on the
no.
hot seat?
No, he is not on the hot seat. He is on the lukewarm seat.
Okay.
He is
Thank
on
you.
poke him with a stick, do something seat.
Got it.
Picture a meme where he's like, do something.
That meme. Do something. Okay. According to ESPN, and they're one of their indices, here are the percentages for college football teams to go undefeated moving into the college football world. Notre Dame has the highest percentage of 15.8%, followed by Oregon, 15.7%, Georgia, 10.8%, Ohio State, 7.5%, Penn State, 7.1%, and Texas, it's 6.8%, even though they put Lamborghinis out in front of that facility for all those recruits to see on visit days. Only gets them to 6.8%. I apologize, Alex. WVU did not make this list. Wow. How do we feel about Notre Dame and Oregon hitting the top two spots on this?
Okay.
Dude, Notre Dame. I feel like you always have something to say about Notre Dame, Jim.
I don't know their schedule, so I can't let me look that up. I think Georgia being so low is probably the one highlight for me. I don't get that.
I mean, 3 of the 6, or 3 of the 7, 3 of the 6 on this list are Big Ten teams.
Yeah, that's cool. Notre Dame plays nobody. Fucking nobody.
Like Clemson?
No. This is their schedule. Texas A&M, Northern Illinois, Purdue, Miami of Ohio, Louisville, Stanford, Georgia Tech, Navy, Florida State, Virginia, Army, USC.
So they play Florida State, USC, and Texas A&M. Those are the games they got to get through.
No shit it's supposed to be that high of a percentage. Of course. Okay. Oregon has to play
Ohio State to open
USC.
up, right?
No, it's like game 5.
Okay.
But Ohio State, they play Penn State too this year.
I'm not good with Penn State's schedule yet.
Oregon football schedule. And they play, also stupid, Idaho, Boise State, Oregon State, UCLA, Michigan State, Ohio State, Purdue, Illinois. They play Michigan, Maryland, Wisconsin, Washington. And they're higher than who? Yeah, okay. They're higher than Ohio State, and that makes sense. Let's look at Georgia. Georgia football. Georgia, Kentucky, Clemson, Tennessee Tech, Alabama, Auburn, Mississippi State, Texas. Yeah, okay. Yeah, that all adds up.
Yeah, they have to play the games.
Yeah, Georgia has the toughest schedule of the 4 of them.
Right. Which is typical for the SEC, let's be honest.
But Penn State, they don't have to play anybody but Ohio State and Michigan. Like,
WVU.
Penn State should be higher.
Calm down. WVU.
Alex left. You don't have to
cowtail it. I don't have to.
You're good.
So, yeah.
Penn State should be higher than.
Well, they still got to play Ohio State. Which
yeah, but Ohio State has the chance at 2 losses.
Whereas it doesn't matter if 2 versus 1. It's just go undefeated. So
I disagree, but okay. You're the math man, not me.
This is just to go undefeated.
Yeah, but you have 2 shots at not going undefeated, where you have 1.
We'll see. Speaking of going undefeated and what may come to be with the playoffs, the college football playoff schedule has come out. First round games are going to be on December 20th and 21st, quarterfinals on December 31st and January 1st, and the semifinals on January 9th and 10th, with the championship on the 20th.
The holidays feels so weird.
The holidays just got a whole lot more exciting.
The 20th feels so weird. I saw that and I was like, man, college football at the end, almost the end of January. Weird.
Sorry, I'm back. There's a smoke alarm going off, so I just had to peek my head out of the office to make sure no one else was running for their lives. They aren't. Report is somebody was vaping in another tower and it set off smoke detectors.
So this is how to react in an emergency situation 101.
Yeah. Peek your head out. If no one else is running in fear, peek head back in.
Cool.
Alex, how do you feel about the college football playoff schedule with games in mid-December all the way till towards the end of January? How's that gonna impact your holidays?
More football to watch.
More meaningful football to watch.
I'm here for it. You won't hear me complain.
No. And a couple other things. Eagles have announced that Dom DeSandro, who was suspended from the sideline after a player altercation last year, is now the senior advisor to the general manager, chief security officer, and game day coaching operations. Is this just to get him off the field and give him a better title?
Yes. That handles that.
That handles that. Sit up in an office now. You don't have to be sitting next to Sirianni all day.
Yeah.
All right. Jim?
Starting this season, the NCAA will allow commercial sponsor advertisements on football fields for regular season games in all 3 divisions. That's what was announced Thursday. So I feel like we can get a logo on the field, boys.
I don't know if we have the capital to make that work, Jim.
Guaranteed there's a school out there that'll take our money.
We're thinking about D3.
Yeah, buddy.
You said all 3 divisions.
Yeah, buddy.
There's a McPherson College somewhere. It's in
I
Kansas, I believe.
I feel like we can make this happen.
Okay.
Alex?
I'm in to try.
Well,
I'm up for a challenge.
Let's investigate. Let's investigate, see what we can come up with. Yeah.
I will make a phone call tomorrow if you give me the blessing.
Capital and see what we can do. All right, that gets us out of the football world, and let's do some playoff updates in the NBA and the NHL, along with some other news in those sports.
Man, do we have to go through the NBA?
First, in the NBA, the Celtics have taken the first two games in Boston, with Kyrie Irving not being able to do much for the Mavs in these games, while Drew Holiday has been the standout for the Celtics through their first two. Luka Doncic is fighting through injuries, but still leading the Mavs in points through the first two games.
They basically taped him together.
Sort of, kind of. He was like one of those walking memes of you do physical activity after the age of 30. This is what you end up looking like.
God.
But what do we think is going to end up with the NBA Finals? Who's going to win? How many games?
Celtics in 4.
Alex?
Celtics in 4? No, that's Celtics in 6.
I'm going to go Celtics in 5. The Lakers are still looking for a head coach as Dan Hurley, current UConn head coach, turns down a 6-year, $70 million deal to leave UConn and go to Lakers. Do we think he was truly a contender?
No.
I don't know. They offered it to him, didn't they?
They did offer it to him. This is, and I haven't even seen a whole lot of this yet. This is me going down a deep, dark hole of what could be. Was Dan Hurley just putting out feelers because he wants UConn to lock him up long term
Yes.
with some big money? And this was I see, other people want me. How much do you want me to stay?
Yes.
So I think that's part of it, is he wanted to show that there was desire to have him not just within the college ranks. I also think that there's some gamesmanship by the Lakers being like, hey, this is what we're willing to offer people. So if you want to get involved, look, this is what you're going to get into. So somebody like JJ Redick, who has been rumored, has not been a head coach. We're going to give him 6 years for 70. You've never been a head coach. He's been successful. You're not going to get that deal, buddy, just so you know.
Who cares?
A lot of the world cares, Jim. A lot of the world cares.
Well, they should stop.
Okay. And the NBA betting came into the fold, or phrase that, is more information is coming out about Jonte Porter and the betting situation that he was involved in. And it has now been reported that 2 individuals have been arrested for conspiring to defraud a sports betting company. Jim, initially you were kind of okay with this whole situation.
Yeah, a lot of things, like, you keep trying to pin me down on this. A lot of things have come out. This guy was a crook.
One of the individuals that has been arrested placed an $80,000 parlay on the under of Porter's assists, points, rebounds, 3 steals, and blocks in a game that Porter intentionally took himself out of. The bet won and netted $1.04 million.
Yeah, crook.
All the way crook. And lastly,
Agreed.
the NBA has go ahead, Alex. Sorry.
Oh, I just said agreed. Crook.
Yeah. And lastly, the NBA has finalized an 11-year, $76 billion deal with Amazon, ESPN, and NBC. Jim, people watch the NBA. It's just not you.
Yeah.
ESPN's going to get 2.6 billion a year. Amazon's going to get 1.8 billion per year. NBC's going to get 2.5 billion a year. TNT, who is out of this deal, says they're still in negotiations for a smaller package that may include NBA games, but for now, it's not looking good.
Shoes.
What?
They're doing it for shoes.
Who's doing it for shoes?
That's what it's all about. NBA sells shoes. Just shoes.
And hockey sells hockey sticks, and that's it. That's all they get. They don't sell skates. And in the NHL, the Panthers and Oilers played their first game of the series, with the Panthers taking the W and leading this series 1-0 going into game 2 that's happening right now. Does anybody have a live look in on this?
Ooh, I did.
You know what?
Hold on.
Edmonton
1-0 Oilers.
at the end of the first. And
Ratings are up 43% in North America.
so they just Canada.
Probably.
Canada's got a lot to do with that.
I know Florida's got people, man.
I mean, viewership overall, but I mean, they didn't even fill up the arena for game 1.
Well, viewership's up, buddy.
Well, I think it has to do with a particular Oilers fan.
Boobies.
Bingo.
Sorry.
Always
No,
gonna check
that
out
was
Alex.
that was expected from you, Alex.
Yep.
I expected that response. The Utah hockey team took in over 500,000 votes and has this list for the hockey team name. We have the Utah Blizzard, Utah HC, or Hockey Club, Utah Mammoth, Utah Outlaws, Utah Venom, and the Utah Yeti.
Utah Yeti.
Yeah, I like Venom as a team name, but not in Utah. So Yeti is what I'm going with.
What was the other one I liked before that? Utah.
The
I know.
Quakes, the Shakers, the Quakes,
No.
Soakers.
Soakers. Yeah,
That's
these were all our options. They just didn't go with them. I think the Yeti was brought up before, and that was something you were interested in, Alex. I would actually be interested in the Mammoth just because I want to see how that like translates to a mascot.
I like it. Yeah, Utah Mammoth would be cool because I think you could have a really cool like. I don't like the Utah HC. That feels like a different like country than.
Is smoke alarm still going off?
Oh yeah, sorry.
You sure it's not serious?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure. I don't know.
Alex is gonna die in a fire caused by a
Oh,
vape.
I'll let you
Why?
know if I'll let you know if
On
it's
this episode of Sports Stuff with
it's-
Jim and Muff.
Alex dies in a fire.
I'm scared.
It's okay, buddy. I'll let you know if I die.
So
All
Yeti
right.
and Mammoth is what we're on.
Yeah.
Yeah, HC does seem like European, Alex.
You know what I mean? Like I just don't like that. It doesn't fit
Yeah.
the mold.
It's like
Damn
soccer.
Europeans, we
It's like
hate you.
it's like the soccer teams calling themselves like FC football club and stuff like that.
We
Like
don't like soccer, so
we like nicknames,
right.
right? That's what we like.
America.
And now on to
Interesting news in sports.
in the baseball. San Diego Padres infielder, former infielder now, Tusapita Marcana has been banned from baseball for life
He lost all his bets.
after betting on
He was
baseball.
injured. He wasn't really playing. Like, let the guy back in.
Wagered on games involving the Pirates when he was with the team.
He was probably listening to our show.
He bet on 25 Pirates games while with the Pirates. As Jim stated, he was injured. He lost every single one of those, which means he probably bet on the Pirates to win. Alex, truth?
Truth.
Overall, he gambled more than 150K on baseball, only winning overall 4.3% of his bets.
That's stupid. Let him in.
It was not just Marcano. There were other players that were punished for unrelated to gambling behavior, not to what he was doing, but they had their own issues. Ace pitcher Michael Kelly was suspended for 1 year. Padres pitcher Jay Groom suspended for a year. Phillies infielder Jose Rodriguez suspended for a year. And Diamondbacks pitcher Andrew Saalfrank also.
And who's the pitcher that we won't let back into the league, even though he's been exonerated?
You were talking about Trevor Bauer.
Yeah, but this poor guy bets, loses all his money, and we're like, banned for life. Stupid. Baseball's dumb.
You know the news, the Pirates only like 3 games out of a wild card, Alex.
Isn't it still June?
That's yeah, but we look at the positives this year. Last year we didn't, and we lost all that positive time we could have had while you're trying to tell us to be positive.
Yeah. This is realistic right now.
True.
In gymnastics, go ahead, Alex.
No, I was just gonna say sorry. I keep muting it, so it takes me a second to come back on because I don't want everyone else to have to listen to a fire alarm.
Fair enough. In gymnastics, Simone Biles becomes the first gymnast to win 9 United States all-around championships, extending her own record. I just honestly didn't think she was competing anymore.
Neither did I, but I'm glad she is.
So I'm assuming she's going to the Olympics as well.
Well, unless the WNBA bans her, doesn't
Well,
pick
that's
her for...
wait.
wait.
Is gymnastics winner?
I have no idea.
Gymnastics winner, Alex? Winter Olympics?
Yes, it is.
Okay. So yeah, she's probably not competing in the Olympics anymore. Doubtful.
Got it.
Why? Oh, yeah, this
because
is
they're
summer.
2 years from now. She'll be
I
like,
think it's winter,
I think
right?
it sounds right. It's because it's gymnastics and skating are all in the
And
same
swimming.
situation. Yeah.
I think I like the Winter Olympics better, if I'm being honest.
It's whether you're a track and field person or whether you're a pool person. I think that's what it comes down to.
I like pool parties.
There you go. Pee in the pool. All right, Jim. Let's talk about turning left.
NASCAR on Tuesday granted Kyle Larson the waiver he needed to remain eligible in this year's playoffs after he missed the Coke 600 because he was trying to run the Indianapolis 500.
He didn't try. He did.
Yeah, after he tried to run the Coke 600. He did compete in the Indy 500. I'm sorry. The fact that this was even a question beyond me. Like, this is newsworthy. Like, of course, the poster child who's won a bunch of races, like, this was inevitable, but like, it was questioned whether he was going to do it. I just think it was funny and ironic.
Procedural situation. They had to do
Right.
it to say they had to do it, right?
Right.
In the French Open, a little bit of tennis. Carlos Alcaraz wins the men's side, while Iga Swiatek wins her third straight French Open title on the women's side. Alcaraz win this year. It was the first year since 2004 that the final didn't include either Roger Federer, Rafa Nadal, or Novak Djokovic.
Djokovic was hurt. That's tennis. Next.
That's tennis. In horse racing, former Major League Baseball player Jason Worth is part of the ownership group, the Belmont Stakes winner Dornoch. Worth
That's cool.
now has an MLB All-Star to his credit, a World Series title to his credit, and now one of the legs of the Triple Crown winner to his resume. So I agree, it's pretty cool. I mean, they had highlighted him in the Kentucky Derby, and it was funny when they were interviewing him. It's like, oh yeah, this guy's definitely like a professional athlete in some way because he just like towered over everybody. So that was cool to see. What I really want to know is what would each of you name your horse if you owned one?
Hold on. I got it for you.
Pokey's pony.
Either Janet or Rita.
Because
Those are the grannies from Bluey, when the kids play Granny. So I could scream, "Here comes the grannies." And I would die laughing.
you talking about like the person who announced it, like, and they're coming down the home stretch, and here comes the grannies.
Yeah.
Here comes Janet. Here comes
Yep.
Rita. Here comes
Yep.
Janet.
Yep. I would die laughing the entire time. And only Joe and I would laugh. Maybe my kids if they were old enough. But Joe and I would just die laughing. And I hope she makes it this far in the episode to hear it because she'd laugh listening. But yeah, I would name them the grannies.
Oh,
If you're a Bluey fan,
you're a Blue fan.
you're probably laughing now too.
Call mine Muff's Mane.
That's cool. I like that.
Muff's mane.
Muff's
Although that'd
Mane.
be kind of funny.
That's actually a pretty good.
A muff mane.
Why I gotta take it to Dirty Town?
It's funny.
Always Dirty Town with you.
Yep.
It was gonna get there somehow. But one of you two was gonna take it there. I was just curious which one it was gonna be.
At least I was wholesome.
It was me this time. You're welcome.
Talking about like the mane of a lion or like the mane of a horse, Alex.
Not a muff.
What are you
Got
talking about?
A
Dirty
muff.
bird. You dirty
vagina.
bird. Oh my
Thank
God.
you.
Thank
For,
you.
I'm glad you. If everybody's made it to this far.
You
They
just went
got,
from wholesome to dirt.
they got their
Yep.
obligatory Alex taking it all the way down the gutter.
Yep.
Oy.
And lastly, in television news, Amazon Prime is planning to reboot American Gladiators. Now, Alex, I think you're maybe a little too young for this.
Yes and no. I know what it is, but I'm too young for it, kind of.
You weren't too young for the attempted reboot that didn't go well.
Right.
Yeah, exactly.
Jim and I remember American Gladiators when it was the shit.
The good shit. Yep.
And the gladiators looked like they were on all the roids, and the competitors, they just looked like they brought them in off the street for the most part. Is that a good way to say it, Jim?
Yes.
and it was fun to just watch people get manhandled by the gladiators. So,
Yes.
Jim, are you excited to check this out and see what goes down?
I will be checking it out. In today's PC world, I'm interested on how they present it.
The gladiators.
And the shooting at people with
Oh,
Nerf rockets.
tennis balls.
Yeah, I just don't.
We may not see all of the same events.
Yeah.
I also think
Oh,
that the
good.
quality of the
Fire's out.
editor.
At least the alarm stopped. Sorry.
Well, I don't know if the fire may have just totally
Burnt the
incinerated
alarm.
all of, yeah, it
Yeah,
was.
it's burning.
Yeah. Oh, if I start sinking, you'll know it's because everything below me is now.
We'll pray for you.
Thank you.
What was your favorite event, Jim? Do you remember?
Definitely where they can run through the obstacle course shooting at the target behind the
Okay.
gladiator.
And the gladiator was trying to shoot him with tennis balls.
Yeah, absolutely.
I would say, yeah, that was that or the joust. Oh no, the human cannonball. That was my favorite one.
That was a good one too. I had it on regular Nintendo.
Ooh. I don't know if
Like
I ever played it on regular Nintendo.
that's how old Gladiator was.
Like, what are your memories of it, Alex? Like, what do you
Uh,
remember about watching it or seeing it?
Mine is basically like a weird version of Legends of the Hidden Temple.
Yeah. I
Because
loved
that's
it
more
so
or less.
much. I had a Gladiator lunchbox.
It was a phenomenon.
I loved it.
Someone told me that they had a Gladiator lunchbox. I would assume it had Russell Crowe on it.
No.
That's it. And there's the
That
generational gap right there.
Right there. Yep.
All right. Well, that brings us to the end of our planned discussions. Anything else we want to chat about?
No.
Darren Waller, the tight end, retired. That was the only thing I would have added to the
The notes if you had them.
What would you
yeah.
like to talk about with Darren Waller retiring, Alex? Because I had this in there and I took it out because I didn't know what there was to talk about.
I don't know. He was an inconsistent fantasy prospect.
Had a year or two good with the Raiders, got caught up in some shit. Um, used to be with Kelsey Plum, put out a
Yep.
music video,
Yep, you pretty much nailed it all.
and he's
Take us on, Muff.
going on to bigger and better things, we hope, in his life. Let's
Take us
hope.
home.
Yep.
And that brings us to the end of this episode of Sports Stuff with Jim and Muff. Remember, as always, at Sports Jim Muff on Instagram, Twitter, Sports Stuff with Jim and Muff on Facebook, on YouTube. Subscribe, comment, rate, review, poke, like, tickle.
Get the bell on.
And get excited because here in the next few weeks, you're going to hear about a golf outing
Oh, yeah.
with the crew where Jim's going to wear shorts.
Thank goodness.
A variation of them. Yeah.
There's variations of shorts.
A
You're going to wear a skirt.
That sounds like a symphony. Variations on shorts.
Yeah.
The first movement is
Hopefully, very little movement.
Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon.
you're going to wear a kilt. What are you going to wear, Jim?
Ooh, what if I did golf in a kilt?
I think that would be one of the more appropriate things that you could wear when you think
Maybe
about.
that's what I'll do.
Are you challenging us to find the most inappropriate thing we can wear?
We totally should.
I feel like if anybody should hear this, Nate should, because it is like an organization he's part of that we're going to be playing in this event.
We're just gonna make
We
it
are going to be
lightweight.
a representative of him.
He'll be okay with it. It's Nate.
It's Nate.
It is Nate. All right. Remember, the only way for us to keep going up, up, up to the moon, beyond the moon, to the stars, the next galaxy is to tell a friend, make a friend, be